Welcome to Steiners Winemaking 101. This is the first video in a series of videos on home winemaking. We're going to cover everything, all the way from equipment, techniques, tips, and today we're going to put on an Niagara Mist Black Cherry Pinot Noir. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is open up the box and let's see what's inside. And this here is a Vineco kit. All of the kits that Steiners sells are from Vineco International. Vineco International is a Canadian company that offers a huge variety of kits. No matter what you are making, it could be a 4-week kit like California Connoisseur, a Niagara Mist, a Cheeky Monkey, a Kenridge Founders Series. The basic equipment, techniques, and tools all remain the same throughout the whole Vineco line of products. Okay, so we've emptied the box and I basically laid everything on the table here. And it's 3 different packages. Okay, this is your main concentrate, and this is 7.5 liters of concentrate. To it, we will add water to bring it up to 23 liters. Okay, we'll go over this all in detail as we actually make the wine. This here is called an add pack, or in this case, a flavor pack. This carries all the black cherry portion of the wine, so it's a sweetener and the flavor of the wine. And then here's your instructions and all the additives. Also, I've broken this out now, and as you can see, we have an instruction sheet. We have some additives that will go into the wine, such as yeast, bentonite, potassium metabisulfite, potassium sorbate, and chitosan. I'll explain exactly what all this is when the time comes. So before we actually put on the wine, let's just discuss a few basics about winemaking. Everything has to be clean and sterile, okay? All sanitized. And it's a very simple task to do. You just have to be dedicated in doing it properly. And we'll go through that momentarily. The instructions, again, in the Vineco wine kits, they go through general instructions. It lists the basic equipment needed and just hints for success in making your wine. After you've made wine for a number of years, you probably won't even read these instructions, but make sure you learn to do it properly right from day one. Here's your sterilant. We sell it in 500 gram tubs. It's sodium metabisulfite. And basically you mix up 50 grams or approximately 8 teaspoons into 4 liters of cold water. I like to use a Tupperware container to hold my sterilant. Every time you mix up a batch of it, it's good for about 3 months or until it's depleted. So I mark 4 liters on the side, you pre-measure it, and you never have to measure again. Inside I keep a measuring cup, and we'll show you how this works later. So let's do this. One thing you want to watch with the sterilant, once you have mixed it up, the vapors can bother some people. 3, 4, 8. Water, 4 liters. I like to shake it around a little bit to help it dissolve. So there you have it, spillage. Yeah, mix it up really good until it's all dissolved. So to sterilize equipment, basically the sterilant needs to come in contact with whatever you're going to put into your wine or put your wine into for about 15 seconds. Okay, so let's get this aside for a sec. We're going to grab our primary fermenter. So this is where it all starts, this is where it all begins. This is a food grade bucket that you're going to start your wine in. Most wine kits will live in this bucket for approximately 7 to 10 days. Food grade means that it's not going to impart any off flavors into the wine. Okay, on our primary fermenters, we have 2 things: a scale which tells you the volume, as well as a thermometer which tells you the temperature. Very handy to have right on the primary fermenter. So again, I can't stress this enough, cleanliness is one of the most important things in winemaking. All of my equipment I keep clean all the time, but we're going to put a batch of wine on. We're just going to give it a quick rinse. Just cold water. If your equipment's been sitting for a while, I mean, this was covered, but you know, you never know if a little bit of dust or whatever got into it. Okay, so it's basically clean and dust free because I did clean it after I made wine last time. Now we're ready to sterilize the bucket. You take your 4 liter container and dump it in. What I'll do is I'm just going to put the lid on loosely And let that sit for whatever, you know, a minute, doesn't matter. Go do something else, have a drink of wine. Just let it sit for a little bit and let the vapors of the sterilant just start to sterilize the bucket. I took my own advice, had a glass of wine. Well, we've been off for about 5 minutes now. I said it really didn't matter how long it sits in there. You can't over sanitize. It's a nice thing. So here's another tip. Some people would just take this and dump it out. I put it back in my handy 4-liter Tupperware container. And as I pour it back in, I'm just slowly turning the bucket and making sure that as it pours back into my container, it touches the side of the primary fermenter. We'll just give this one more quick rinse with cold water. Voila, sterilized bucket. So we're ready to start. Let's grab our panel and carefully pour this into your primary. So what we're putting in here is 7.5 liters of grape concentrate. Okay, next we're going to rinse out our bag with hot water. It's not a big deal. Depending on the temperature of the concentrate, the juice when it went into the primary, you may want to put a little bit of warm water in, because again, we want our starting temperature for fermentation to be roughly around 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so there we have our concentrate in the primary fermenter, and now we have to add water. We're going to bring this level up to the 23 liter mark. I do believe that the better quality of ingredients that go into your wine, the better it's going to taste in the end. So I opt for bottled water. We have our scale, we have our water. Again, slowly, because if it splashes, you got a mess. Exactly 23 liters. Any tools go into the wine for stirring, mixing, whatever. We must sterilize. Handy 4-liter container. This is where the measuring cup comes into play. My spoon doesn't fit in, it's not a telescopic spoon. So I just have to simply put the sterilant up and down it, get it nice and sterile. Again, I'm reusing the sterilant all the time. I'm not dumping it into the sink all the time. Okay? So there we have a sterilized spoon. Quick rinse, and now the spoon can enter the bucket. Stir it for as long as you feel you want to, need to, desire to. When you think that this is completely stirred up, you're welcome to stop. This up here onto the table. And we're at the proper level, 23 liters. The next thing we're going to check is our temperature, and voila, we are at 20 degrees Celsius, which is perfect temperature for pitching these.